Hi folks. Occasionally I get asked to delve into the subject of the Illuminati and the New World Order and all that stuff. So I thought I would finally make a video on what I think about that whole conspiracy scene. It strikes me actually that it might have some importance to say this because people who take this very seriously, they can end up making very big decisions about possibly their family's life. For instance, if you believe that there is a conspiracy to dumb down the population and that this exists, you know, in education, in schooling, then you might make the decision to pull your kid out of school and homeschool him. But you might be making that decision grossly misinformed about what's really going on. We'll get to that in a minute, because I actually work in a school. Anyway, I do not believe that there is an Illuminati. And what I mean by Illuminati is, I don't believe that there is a shadow government behind the existing government. A shadow government that is global, that is pulling all the strings behind the scenes, and whose aim is to bring about a new world order where all of humanity is enslaved, something like in George Orwell's book 1984, or even Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. Two very different dystopias, but both dealing with a human race that was not free. Why do I not believe this? Well, there's a lot of complex conspiracy theory out there, but the view that this government has been around for potentially thousands of years, that just can't work. And if you just pick up a history book and read about the last 2 millennia, get an overview of the events that have happened in the last 2 millennia, if you're really thinking about this, this just can't work. Because at various time periods, there were wars that took place where the balance of the known world was seesawing one way or the other, and it could have literally gone one way or the other depending on the outcome of a battle. And as a result of that, we might have been living in a very different world today. The one example that comes to mind on this, because I was reading about it recently, is the rise of Islam. Started in the Near East, and it's spread out all over the place. Originally, the surrounding lands had been conquered in the name of Christianity. And then they started to get conquered again in the name of Islam. And it seemed for a while like Islam was this unstoppable force that was just expanding and expanding and expanding. But then it hit Europe, and that was where it met successful resistance, and its expansion was stopped for the time being, and the Christians could breathe a sigh of relief in that area, at least. So you have to ask, well, what if it hadn't stopped? What if that battle there had failed? Well, we might be living in an Islamic Europe today. What if, way back even further than that, what if the Emperor of Rome, Constantine, had not decided to make Christianity the state religion of Rome? Is it likely that Christianity would have expanded and been successful and continued to this very day? It's probably unlikely. So these are just a couple of points in history where we can see that there are big and obvious forces in play, that there isn't one shadow anything, controlling anything. There is a great big flux going on where dramatic changes would have occurred in the world if things had played out just a little bit differently. So I don't know how you fit the idea of a conspiracy that is millennia old. And if it were, why hasn't it been more successful long before now? For instance, why do we enjoy the freedoms that we do enjoy right now? Why didn't they put a stop to these things? I mean, one of the biggest threats to such a thing surely is the internet. Why did that ever get off the ground? Just take a look at the educational resources that are open to you today as a result, not just of the internet, but certainly because of the internet, but just because of the sheer availability of books and documentaries. You know, if there's a conspiracy to dumb down the population, why is it that we live in a world where all these educational resources are open to us and are inexpensive? I can go on Amazon here and order a DVD of Carl Sagan's Cosmos or whatever and learn all about the universe. That's just one out of hundreds of topics that I could pick. It's all open to me. So where's this conspiracy to dumb us down, to turn us into stupid little animals? Compliant little animals. It could be argued that your TV is doing that. But you can just make the choice not to sit down and watch it. No one is forcing you to turn that thing on every day and to act like a mindless zombie every evening in front of it. Turn it off. Pick up a book. Educate yourself. Don't play victim. There's no conspiracy here. It's all open and available to you. You just have to choose it. And regarding the education system, like I said, I work in a school. In the 15 years that I have worked there, the school has undergone 3 major expansions. There was an expanded technology department, literally the building of a whole new wing onto the edge of the school. Then later there was the expansion of the music department from 1 room into several rooms, including a recording studio and stuff like that. And then more recently there was the expansion of the art department. Now surely, I would say, and I don't know the facts and figures, but surely at least £500,000 must have gone into that entire endeavour, those 3 different expansions, probably more than £500,000. So all that money was invested for what? For technology and design. So that's creativity. That's helping children learn how engineering works, how to build things. We're teaching tomorrow's engineers. Music, the celebration of creativity with musical instruments. Does this sound like a new world order to you? The art department, creativity through painting and drawing and sculpture. If there's a conspiracy to dumb down the children of the world, well, they must have forgot about Northern Ireland. That's all I can say. You see, you can listen to the Alex Jones channel, or you can pick up a David Icke book or some other conspiracy theorist, or Mark Dice, for instance, right? You can pick up one of those books and you can read it and you can get carried along by the narrative, and he's painting the world as this very dark place where everything's bad, where there's some kind of conspiracy against you personally. You know, people who make the food are trying to kill you. The education system's trying to dumb you down. All this stuff. And it can seem very convincing. But I'm telling you, as somebody who actually works in the system, that's not the case. The Illuminati would have to be kind of dumb to allow the expansion of human creativity in the way that they've done. Isn't that a colossal waste of resources if there's a conspiracy to dumb down the population? You know, the reality of life working in a school is that we bemoan the fact that we can't get enough imagination and creativity out of children. So, if you're buying into all this conspiracy stuff, I'm just asking you to get some perspective. Reel yourself in a little bit and ask yourself if this is the way the world really works, because it doesn't. And I know there's somebody watching this video who's so caught up in all this, all he can see when he watches me is, haha, you must be one of them. Like I'm an insider, I must be telling lies. When I come home from work in the evenings, I travel past a big sign that says, resist the New World Order, a big sign that somebody has tacked up on a lamppost. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this stuff actually doesn't just exist on the internet and cyberspace, it's actually infecting the real world around me. You know, it's quite possible that people could get so mobilized that they believe in this delusion so much that they end up becoming organized in the real world and doing something violent and stupid. That is a possibility. So I think it's important, folks, just to keep your head screwed on and to always be very critical of everything that you read, because the world may not be as dark a place as you perhaps think it is. If I had a kid, I would have absolutely no hesitation in putting him through a public school. I think it's important that they have a normal experience of life, an experience that includes conflict, because ultimately they've got to become people who can cope and survive and thrive in the world. And that's not what happens when you cover a child in cotton wool and try to just protect them from everything. So, something to think about, folks.